Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. Let's crack on with today's first story. Now, today's first story comes from the Am I the Arsehole Here subreddit from NervousAd8260 and says, Am I the arsehole for losing my shit on my husband on the day of his family reunion? I'm a 35-year-old female, married to a 38-year-old man. We've been together for 10 years and have 2 children, 9 and 5. My husband works very hard. He has multiple jobs and he works throughout the week. Recently, we had a discussion about taking time off and spending some time together. It is difficult because of things in his past. He accumulated a lot of debt, which is why he works so much. I work 60 plus hours a week and take care of the household and childcare things, while much of his income goes to paying his debts. I keep up with the household, I do the housework and lawn work, repairs, etc., and he contributes where he can. Within this year, he has taken time off for family and co-worker events. He has scheduled time to take trips with his friends, and when he does, I'm the designated babysitter. Many days after he gets home, he is responsible for his parents. He takes them grocery shopping, fixes things at their household, and does some of their housework. I forgot to mention, he is one of 5 and all 4 siblings live close to his parental home. His parents assist in childcare for his siblings, but not for ours. I've told him my frustrations of being consistently placed on the back burner. The other day, I lost it. I found out he invited his family to our house for a family reunion last week. I thought he took time off of work, and he didn't. The house was a mess, and most of the mess was his. I was expected to clean the house, get the groceries, run the kids to their weekend events, start cooking and get the reunion set up as he set the time for 4 PM, the time he gets out of work. The kids are helpful in doing their chores and cleaning their rooms. I got the house clean, and by the time his family started pouring in, I was stewing as he was at work. He asked me why there weren't any clean towels as he was going to take a shower, and I freaked out in front of his whole family. I ran down the list of how I'm always on the back burner for these people. I'm one person and I'm the one contributing to the household while he works just to pay off his debts. How I have no security or support in this relationship, and that he is living like another child, and that all I feel like I'm worth is an occasional fuck whenever he's in the mood. I let it all out. I ended with I'm done. I packed a bag and I took off. I sat in a parking lot hysterical. And no, the kids weren't present, they were outside playing. He's a good father to the kids, but as a husband, I feel like I'm better off by myself. I have so much resentment towards him. And no, he hasn't called. He texts me loud and clear, which made me even more angry because this is exactly how he deals with everything. I'm now feeling like an arsehole for going off and saying all I did in front of his family. Am I the arsehole? Now clearly, this was just the breaking point for you, the tipping point. It sounds like this has been going on for some time and you just let it all out when the final straw came. He doesn't sound supportive of you. He sounds very disrespectful in what he's done in this one story. He arranged a family reunion and expected you to take care of everything. Yeah, that's gonna piss anyone off, but clearly there's a lot more things building up to this as well. But Vegetable Business says so. Tell him to move in with his parents while he pays off his debt. That way he can care for them, hang with his friends, take the kids on the weekends and do whatever he wants with no consideration of you. And you can enjoy your home, children and weekends to relax all with, and one less giant child to care for. And then when his debts are paid, you two can sit down and decide if the best course of action is separated lives, not the arsehole. Next commenter says the straw that broke the camel's back is real. Unfortunately, the timing was bad for this, but you said things that had to be said, and it didn't do his family any harm to hear them. Now, take some big breaths, go get some food, don't want to be hangry when you go back. Marshal your thoughts, make a plan, and go rescue your kids. Try very hard to kick him out to his family, and you keep possession of the house for the kids' sake. Decide if him living elsewhere while you do therapy seems plausible. Whatever you do, get a lawyer. He screwed you financially for years. You need professional advice. Redmayne says, I don't know how your husband can demonstrate any more clearly that he does not view you as a partner. You're his nanny, cook, maid and whore. How long before you think your kids see it too, if they don't already? He's good with you spending your time doing these things because it gives him freedom to do what he actually wants to do and see the people he actually wants to spend time with. One more comment from Equal Brilliant, who says talk with a divorce lawyer. Find out what your options are. You don't want to get stuck with half of his debt. You support yourself and the kids without him. You may be able to avoid his debt if you don't want to ask for spousal or child support. Tell him he needs to move back home or just out until he gets his shit together. Once he's out, start therapy. Then you can decide if you want to try and save this marriage. But honestly, I don't think it's salvageable. Your resentment has been building for too long. Hopefully, some of his family sees how shitty things have gotten for you and give him hell on your behalf. I know I would if I was around when something like this happened. Take some more deep breaths, eat your favorite food, go back home and tell him to get out. So then OP comes in with her update and says, update, wow, oh wow, thank you all for your advice. The kind words and some kick in the pants type of support. I came here to see if I was the arsehole and was body slammed with a lot of harsh truths. I'm not gonna lie, much of it was cathartic to hear and that I'm not the arsehole, and it hurts to hear that I'm being taken advantage of. So here's where I'm at. After the loud and clear text, I was bombarded with phone calls and texts from his family. I sent a message to my husband to give me some space and if he had any care for me and this relationship to call off his dogs. I put my phone on Do Not Disturb with the exception of my children's iPad. I'd called my mother, sent her some money and she picked them up for a special grandma date/sleepover. Once they were there, I FaceTimed them and told them I was working. I'm not working. Had a secret rainy day fund and splurged on a nice hotel and spa day. Had a few drinks and cried my eyes out some more. I just spent the day unplugged and journaled all my feelings. I haven't had time to do any of that in a very long time. After that, I mustered up the courage to open Reddit and read my fate and wow, I was surprised. I was fully expecting a ton of "you are the arsehole" comments. To clear up a few things, I shamefully do not know the length of his debts. Much of it was from his parents putting bills in his name. Others is just mismanagement of money, credit cards, etc. I took over the finances after I found a letter in the mail saying that we're going to lose the house. I was contributing to the household bills at the time and he was doing the finances. I trusted things were well. This was after marriage and after kids. We went to counselling because of it and he said he was ashamed and afraid to tell me the truth. I took over about 3 years ago. I told him to focus on clearing his debt and I'd hold the household down while he did. I did not expect it to take this long and with inflation everything just become more expensive and that much more hard for me. I was supposed to go back to school and that was put on hold so I could catch up on what we were behind on. Hence the working 60+ hours. I'm a nurse and I work 12-hour shifts and capitalize on overtime where I can. I agree with the comments saying I'm burnt out. I realized this today. I realized at work or at home I'm constantly in critical thinking caregiver mode. My job is to care and problem solve for everyone but myself. To clear up the comment of his family doesn't watch our kids is because they did so one time and threw it in our faces and I said never again. I see how they use him. I've said something before and he returns with, one day they won't be here and I'll wish I could have done more. I told him that's fine, but you have siblings that are equally responsible. Some that don't have spouses or kids that can contribute. As far as the house and things go, he does really help when he can. Don't jump on me, I just want to be truthful. I think it came across that he comes home and does nothing. He just works up to 16 hours, 7 days a week, and so a lot of times it's me doing the majority of it. As far as the trip goes, yeah, that's a sore spot. He tells me about them, he takes the day off and it pisses me off. I have to beg for time, and if and when we do get it, we end up in a fight or have to plan everything, or we can't get sitters and sit home and he sleeps all day. And to be honest, I'm so full of resentment that it's almost too little, too late. Like when I'm around him, I'm just so pissed off. He says I always have an attitude and that he's trying, but nothing is ever good enough. So I just stopped and accepted my fate, hence the blow up. I haven't spoken to him yet besides telling him to call off his family. It was part of the do not disturb on my phone. I'm enjoying the peace, I'm enjoying being myself and just being present and aware of my feelings. Knowing my kids are safe and I can truly take some time for myself and my mental health right now is everything. I know tomorrow I have to go back to reality and deal with everything. I promise to update when I can. I'm sorry to leave you all hanging if this isn't the update you had hoped for. I just want to enjoy this escape a little while longer while I can before my world implodes. Thank you all, and please keep the advice coming. I truly am alone on this one and need all the advice and support I can get. And we have another update, but the top comment on this one said every single day he's lighting you on fire to keep his parents warm. It's a choice he is making. If he had his way, he would have made your children homeless. He won't even tell you the extent of the debts, and you stayed with him. What the fuck are you doing? How do you know he stopped overspending? How do you know his parents aren't taking out more debt in his name? How can you trust him? He won't even tell you the extent of the damage. You are killing yourself for him. You're not able to be fully present for your children for him. He can't even be honest with you. Now, about a week or so ago, we covered a story and it told me about a book called Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents, and I found it really eye-opening, especially reading some of these stories and the behaviors you see in it. And obviously not making excuses for anyone's behaviors or anything like that, but anyway, OP came in with a second update and said, "Update, thank you all again for all the advice. I woke up this morning with a clear head. I'm still upset and disappointed. I have tons of voicemails from his family. I don't have the energy to listen through them all. I don't care. Like I said, I'm angry, but I also feel embarrassed. I did call my husband this morning. I could tell by his voice he didn't sleep last night, and he confirmed that he in fact did not. He told me after the blow up, he asked everyone to leave. He was surprised to see my mother as I sent her to pick up the kids. He said that's when it really became real. We had a long conversation. I did apologize for exploding and doing so when I did, and not communicating better. He said he understands why I felt like I couldn't, and was actually glad it happened the way it did. His family finally got to see how much they affected his home. According to him, after I left, he laid into them and told them that he can no longer be the one to help his family out, and that a lot of the mess he's in is their fault. He said that after the blow up, he told his siblings they need to step up and help with his parents. His parents were obviously upset with the whole ordeal. I couldn't care less, to be honest. He couldn't believe that they are such a burden because they asked for a little help from time to time. I just rolled my eyes in disgust as he was talking. My new space, along with my feelings of hurt and anger, just let me speak all my truths. I had nothing left to give or lose, so I told him how I felt about everything. He sat in silence for a while, then finally broke down and said he feels like a failure. He's ashamed of the debt and how much he has let us down. He said he was exhausted and he's been feeling depressed because he couldn't see the light at the end of the tunnel, and feels as though he's ruined our future. Yet he goes out with his friends to feel normal in himself because all he does is work. And he does this because of the black cloud that's been hanging over him. I wasn't the best self in this moment and told him to save me the self-pity. It's pathetic that he got himself into this mess and I'm digging him out. I'm fucking depressed too, and there's a ton of shit I want to do that I can't do because I'm financially unable to do so. I went off about how over the past 3 years his income has gone solely to debt repayment, yet there's no end in sight because I haven't even seen the so-called debt. I've given him my all and as much support as I could gather, but I'm angry. This isn't the life I pictured or set myself up for either. It's not the life my kids deserve. I've missed out on so much because I'm working or cleaning, or I'm just so tired I can't even open my eyes. I told him he has no one to blame but himself. I think my disdain was concerning. He said he will show and prove, that he will print out his credit report and list out all the debt he has, along with all his pay stubs and bank records and the receipts of what's paid off, and whatever else I want as far as his finances are concerned. He promised me my hard work was not in vain, and that he is almost debt-free. Come to find out, his parents opened credit cards and bills in his name when he was younger and accrued close to 100k of debt in his name, not including interest. They trashed his credit, and that's why it's taken so long. According to him, he's been fighting with the collection companies to settle, trying to consolidate or get a lower interest as it was multiple companies and debts. What I didn't know, some were so bad his wages were being garnished. He was in tears and said he didn't know how to tell me, that he didn't even know the extent of what they did. He was basically working all these hours with nothing to take home to us and accruing more debt just to survive. I stayed silent. My blood was boiling. He didn't even realize he just helped me make my decision. He jokingly said my outburst took care of the family situation, and that's why he texted me loud and clear, meaning he and they got the message. I told him I didn't find it funny. It's a shame that it took an outburst from me for everyone to hear what I've been saying all along. That he's an idiot for not filing charges on his parents and just taking it up the arse and allowing it to ruin my life and the children we created's lives. I told him he's and I'm not sure how to pronounce this word, I tried Googling, I couldn't find nothing. Pinole? Apologies. And I feel so stupid. He said he didn't call me because he knew how mad I was and was scared he would say the wrong thing and say things just like that. I thanked him for the honesty in the conversation and told him I'm so broken, angry and hurt right now, I can't even pick up my pieces, let alone his. Right now I need to clear my head. He said he's willing to do whatever it takes to turn this around. He even suggested marriage counseling. He told me he used his PTO and took the rest of the week off to work on this. I lost it and sobbed uncontrollably. If it was that easy to take time off, why now and not then? I asked him, why didn't it matter before we got here? Why now? I told him he needs the time off to find counseling, both personal and legal, that I won't be coming home. He asked me if I was serious. He begged me to rethink my decision. He said all the things I've been wanting to hear. He asked me where I was going to go. And what about the kids and the house and the bills? I couldn't tear the kids from the only home they know. I simply replied, I know this is what needs to be done, and I've already set the ball in motion. He hung up on me. I cried and then went to get the kids. We're going to have a wonderful week in a somewhat fancy hotel and swim in the pool and order room service and make some memories. I took some of the money I've saved in my rainy day fund and extended my hotel stay to include me and the kids. I have an awful lot to catch up on with them. The look on their faces when I said no, Mummy doesn't have to work tonight was priceless. I also have an appointment with legal consultants tomorrow. Hopefully I can talk to a lawyer and figure out what's next. Wish me luck everyone, and thanks again. And the top comment on that one from Help Statistician says, make sure the lawyer knows what the debt situation is and try to get a credit report. Make him send you the login, not just a screenshot so you can see his entire credit history. Show your lawyer which ones indicated were fraud. 100k will put your kids through university. That's a house down payment, not to mention interest. He decided the family he came from is more important than the family he made with you. So you're going to put yourself and your kids first now. It is absolutely crazy and incredibly sad at the same time, the amount of parents who will take advantage of their children like that and continue to ask for more after they run up 100k in debt in this guy's name. And some people were questioning whether if they do get a divorce, is that 100k going to be a part of her debts as well? And for him to be sitting there knowing what his parents did with his 100k and he still, still wants to do everything he can for them because one day they won't be here is wild. But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And we're going to have one more story from Adventurous Belt 664 who says, am I the arsehole for not giving my deadbeat father the inheritance left by my grandpa that would have been his normally? My father, late 50s, left my mum when I, 20 male, was 3 and my sister was a newborn baby. Mum had many mental health problems after this and we were instead raised by our grandpa, Dad's dad, and grandma until her passing when I was 7. Grandpa died last year and I took over as legal guardian for my sister. Grandpa had nothing to do with my deadbeat father, although he was aware the deadbeat had married and fathered other children in the last 5 years. But it changed nothing for him because he did not look too kindly on a man who would abandon 2 children the way my father did. He literally left the country to evade child support and refused contact with his family for years. He also emptied out all the money he and my mum had before he left us. So he left us with literally nothing. When Grandpa drew up his will, he looked into how he could leave my father with nothing, but that wasn't an option. However, he didn't need to leave him with more than $1, and so that's what he did, and the portion that would have been my father's was divided between my sister and me. He also left the house to my sister and me. My estranged father attempted to fight the will and get the share my sister and I own, but he was denied because my grandfather did everything above board. My father's siblings ended up back in contact with him after Grandpa died, and while they're not close like before, they have a relationship that my sister and I have no interest in being a part of. Where the moral question comes in is this. My father has a child who has a life-limiting medical condition. He and his wife are struggling to keep their heads above water with 4 young kids and not a lot of money. He feels I should give him my share of the inheritance for the sake of the kids, believing Grandpa was wrong not to think of them at all in his will. He left nothing to my deadbeats other children. I told him he wasn't getting anything from me, and then my father's siblings got involved and they feel I should give him my share, and that having the house and my sister having the money should be good enough, but I could do it as an act of kindness for other siblings. I refuse to meet or get to know. I've been under some intense pressure over this, and it's all driven by the illness and condition that one of his children has. I know that's the only reason my aunts and uncles are so bothered by it. Am I the arsehole? Now obviously I don't know the full ins and outs of Opie's life, etc, but part of me, the way Opie explained how much of a piece of work this guy is thinking, is this actually true? And I feel bad saying that, but you know, it has to be considered with the history of this guy. And why is father's siblings all jumping on your back about this as well? Why aren't they contributing if they're so worried about it themselves? This guy took all the money when he ran, avoided paying child support, and your grandpa cared for you. All I can say is, I don't wish ill on any children or anything like that, but it's simply not your responsibility. In the grand scheme of things, and I don't want this to sound horrible, I don't want this to sound like careless or anything like that, because I really have empathy for that child. But they are strangers to you. You don't know them. And to put that pressure on you is just something else after everything he's done as well. Oh dear. Ice of Coffee and Wine says Grandpa knew what he was doing. He said Grandpa knew he had other children, but left his first too, and drained the bank account and purposely acted in a way not to have any financial responsibility to you, sister or mum. Grandpa specifically left it to you and your sister. The deadbeat dad is facing the consequences of his actions now, not the arsehole. Opie responded saying, my sister and I feel that way about it too. We know Grandpa saw this as our father's consequences, and that he likely saw it as my father being forced to pay up for us one way or another. And the majority of the comments followed down the same path of, you know, they're simply not your responsibility. There was a couple of other comments as well saying maybe you could contribute some with the other relatives as well. Other people saying against that, don't do that. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting involved in today's stories. Your love, your support, your time always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.